Even now, 2 years later, I still question what was real and what wasn't. The memory of that night hasn't faded. It lingers like smoke after a fire. What I'm about to share happened to my dad and me. And I know how it sounds. If I were in your shoes, I might not believe it either. But I swear to you, every single word is true. It started like any normal trip. My dad and I had driven out to this campground deep in the country. Our kind of getaway. We used to do this kind of thing a few times a year, just to unplug and get away from everything. This particular spot was one of our favorites. Hiking trails, zip lines, beautiful woods. A bit touristy, sure, but it had a deep history. Once Native American land, and you could feel that weight in the ground beneath your boots. The first night was perfect. Families at nearby campsites were laughing, roasting marshmallows, sitting around campfires. Kids ran back and forth playing tag. You know, the kind of peaceful night you go camping for. We cooked up some hot dogs, cracked open a few beers, even made small talk with a couple at the next site over. The air was cool, the fire warm. We slept well that night, but the second night, everything changed. When we checked in with the park staff that morning, they told us we were the only ones left in the entire campground. No one else had booked for the rest of the week. At first, that felt kind of exciting, like we had the whole forest to ourselves. Total solitude. We spent the day hiking the trails, casting lines into the river, taking it slow. At one point we sat on a boulder by the water and listened to a scary podcast, trying to lean into the whole eerie atmosphere. We thought we were being funny. We had no idea what we were inviting in. By sunset, we were both tired in that good way you get after being outdoors all day. Muscles sore, stomachs hungry, just enough buzz from a few beers to keep spirits high. Before it got too dark, we walked up to the information center to charge our phones and grab some snacks. The walk back to the campsite, though, that's when the unease began. The woods felt wrong. The air had changed. It felt thicker somehow, like breathing through a wet cloth. The sky had this strange, dusty purple tint, like twilight didn't want to leave. My dad glanced over at me and said, "Doesn't this feel off? Like we're walking through a dream." He was right. Something was different. The forest didn't look the same. It felt endless, like it had stretched and twisted into something unfamiliar. My chest tightened. I couldn't shake the sense that we weren't alone anymore. We didn't talk after that, just kept walking quietly, both of us looking over our shoulders like we expected to see someone, or something, watching us. Back at camp, we sat close to the fire. No more jokes. We didn't even talk about how weird the walk felt. It was like we both silently agreed to act normal, to pretend everything was fine. We roasted marshmallows, played music off a speaker, even smoked a little weed to take the edge off. Not exactly your typical father-son moment, but it helped for a while. Then the sun dipped below the trees, and everything changed again. I want to say it was around 9 p.m. when we heard the first bang. Loud, sharp, like a tree falling, but faster, heavier. It echoed from somewhere near the river, maybe 100 yards out. We jumped up, grabbed our flashlights, and aimed them toward the sound, but the beams were swallowed by the trees. No movement, no eye shine, nothing. My dad chuckled nervously and said, "Bigfoot maybe?" We laughed, kind of, but neither of us meant it. A few minutes passed. Then we heard it again. Another bang. Louder this time. Farther off, but unmistakably the same sound. We scanned the woods again, but it was useless. Our flashlights lit up only the closest trunks. Beyond that, pure black. Then a third bang. This one was closer. That's when fear started to really settle in. Whatever it was moving, circling us, stalking the campsite. Then came the fourth bang. This one was so close, 20 yards, maybe less. The air seemed to vibrate with the impact. That was it. We weren't curious anymore. We were terrified. My dad and I scrambled. We tossed the last of the firewood onto the flames, hoping to scare off whatever was out there. Then we dove into the tent, leaving everything else behind. I hit the ground first, lying flat, trying to be small. My dad followed, but just as he reached the tent, the loudest bang yet cracked through the woods, so loud it shook the ground beneath us. He froze at the entrance, just stood there, staring out into the trees. I whispered, "Dad?" He didn't answer right away. Then finally, in a voice that didn't sound like his, he said, "It's standing there." "What is?" I asked, heart hammering in my chest. "I don't know," he whispered. "It's like a wall of darkness." He slid inside and zipped the tent shut. He sat by the door, clutching the only weapon we had, a small pocket knife. Barely useful, But it was something. Then came the strangest thing, this vibration. Not a noise exactly, but a feeling, like a low hum inside our bones. It made our chests ache, made the air feel like it was pressing down on us. "You hear that?" my dad whispered. I couldn't speak. I just nodded. I was too scared to make a sound. It felt like whatever was out there, it was hunting us. Then another sound, something I still can't explain. Not an animal, not a person. This deep, guttural, alien-like growl. The closest I can describe it, it sounded like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. Like nothing I've ever heard in my life. We stayed frozen. Neither of us moved. I buried myself in my sleeping bag, my face inches from the mesh window, but I didn't dare look outside. I was too afraid that whatever was out there might see me. And then nothing. We blacked out. Neither of us remembered falling asleep. No gradual drifting off. Just nothing. Gone. We woke up in the tent, still in the clothes we'd worn the night before. My dad was still clutching the knife. I sat up suddenly, heart racing. It felt like something had been standing over me. First thing I did was reach for my phone, dead. I told my dad to check his, also dead. Both had been fully charged the night before. We stepped outside to pee, standing back to back, still rattled. It was still pitch black. The air was icy cold, silent. The food we left on the table, untouched. The fire we'd stoked before hiding in the tent, burned completely to ash. It felt like time had stopped, like the night had never ended. Everything about that place felt wrong, like we weren't supposed to be there. We didn't talk much after that, just crawled back into the tent and waited for sunrise. When the sun finally came up, we packed our things in silence. Only once we were in the car did we start to talk. And that's when we realized we both felt the same thing. That something had been out there, watching us, stalking us, waiting for a moment of weakness. We told my mom what happened. She thought maybe we got drugged or hallucinated something. But it wasn't that. Whatever happened that night was real. Neither of us saw it fully, but my dad got the closest. And he swears whatever he saw, it wasn't human. And it wasn't natural. We haven't been camping since. I don't think we ever will.